this come off? Can you hear me all right? Thank you. Perfect. Excellent. All right, well, thank you all very much. My name is James McVey. I am the International Sales Director for VP Racing Fuels. So a little bit about myself here. I'm from Texas. So hopefully everybody knows where Texas is. Americans, we tend to always focus on ourselves, as you probably know about. So English is my only language, so hopefully that comes across well, because otherwise, as Americans, all we do is talk slower and louder. So in this presentation, there we go. A little bit about myself. I've been with the company for about 4 years. I handle all of the business outside the U.S. So anything outside of the U.S. or Canada falls into my category here. But we can just go ahead and go into the first slides of the deck here. We do have a booth over at 136, so if there is any interest in race fuel or lubricants, please come by after the show, and I'll be happy to share a little bit more with you. But if you go to the next slide here. So a little bit about our company. Our company is about 50 years old. Next year we'll have our 50th anniversary. We are focused on the race fuel market as our primary channel. So our company, the gentleman on the left, is kind of a quick story. When he was a teenager, he was a drag racer and was trying to figure out how to get more power for his fuel, and he had gone to the Library of Congress, and the military had declassified some chemicals. So he took those chemicals, went back to his garage, and started blending them up and threw that fuel into his car and started winning. And long story short, that hobby of his grew into a company that we're now about a $160 million company. We've got about 4,000 employees all over the world. We are based in Texas. We have factories in Texas and Tennessee, and then we have some incredible distribution partners all over the world. If you go to the next slide. Since majority of you probably have no idea who VP Racing is, I'm going to play a quick video just to kind of give you an overview of kind of some of the stuff we'll do. So if you could just play that video real quick.
Great for our company. We've been working with them for a long time, and I'm looking forward to working with them in the future. Woo! Thank you, VP number one. Woo!
Just a little bit on some of the different products we sell, but we in the U.S., or we like to consider ourselves the Rolex of race fuel. So we've got a huge brand name in the U.S. and actually outside the U.S., anywhere where there's any type of racing, VP's very well known. We've always focused on performance fluids. We've always focused on making the highest octane fuels that we can. We still are one of the few companies that use leaded fuel in some of our blends. We have very high oxygenated fuels. But anywhere where there's racing, our products do very well. First of all, because it's just an incredible product. But we also have done a very good job on building the brand and growing the brand. And it's always been an exciting brand. So we've got some incredible distributors here presenting as well. But our dealers and distributors are able to capitalize on that brand, that American excitement of around racing to kind of benefit from that as well. So if you go to the next slide. As I said before, we are made in America, so we are proud to say that, of course. But one of the reasons I push that is that we do focus on quality and consistency. You know, in the U.S., we do have access to some incredible base stocks, incredible additive packages, and everything that we do from a performance standard is built around that high quality. We do blend our products in Texas and in Tennessee, and then we ship from there all over the world. If you go to the next slide. We do all of our own research as well. So all of our products that we bring in, we've got over 80 different race fuels that are designed for the racing market. When you look at other players in the race fuel technology world, most of those cater to a smaller segment of racing and use just a couple of blends. We design formulas for any type of racing engine. However, the compression ratio for those engines, we design it specifically for that. So we do see ourselves as the leader in race fuel because we've been doing this for such a long time, and we make such an assortment of different fuels. We are also focusing on sustainability and green, so we've got some incredible sustainable fuels that will be coming out here as well. Next slide. We do work with pretty much every huge racing series in the U.S. and internationally. We do quite a few as well. Here's just a list of some of the names of some of the companies we work with in the U.S. and the series we work with. But pretty much if it's got an engine in it and they're racing, we're involved with it in some way. The only thing we're not involved right now directly is F1. We do actually provide some products that some of the teams are using, but we're not sponsoring any F1. And then NASCAR is big in the U.S., and we're probably going to start work with them here closely soon. But anything else we work with. So it's one thing we pride ourselves in is working with series and helping them use the best fuels that's going to help their racers achieve the best results for the day. All right, next slide. From a marketing perspective, we're a privately held company. We still do a lot of things that some of the bigger companies aren't doing anymore. But you will see that we focus from a marketing perspective to keep the excitement around racing going. We're very proud to make fossil fuels, and we promote that. And from a marketing standpoint, from a social media, we kind of learned how to use some guerrilla marketing to kind of build that brand. But if you are to get on YouTube or Instagram and you search VP Racing, you'll see all types of different videos that we've not actually created that our partners and customers have done. So the brand is just kind of taken off because of the excitement around it. All right, next slide. Just going as far as social media, just to show some of the impact we have. We're able to do some of the things some of the bigger guys aren't able to do because we're not so fixated on making sure we say things always the correct way, but we're more focused on making exciting for our customers and for our dealers who resell our product, because we're here at a lubricant show. There's a lot of lubricants to choose from. We focus on high quality products, but when you have to stand out in that space, having an exciting brand to kind of stand out is what we've focused on. All right, next slide. From a brand power, you can go ahead and slide to the next slide. From a power standpoint, we've actually become so popular that we're in a lot of movies. These are just a few, to name a few. I don't know if you guys watch Fast and Furious, but every time you watch a Fast and Furious show, you'll see inside the garage, they've got the VP logos, inside there. You'll see some drums of fuel, but all these, this is a handful of ones that we're in. We don't pay to be in these. They come to us asking us to be part of, to participate. Most of anything with any type of action where they've got any type of cars or motorcycles, if there's any type of action going on, they want to use our fuel. So we're excited to be able to see that when it comes to social media, that our brand is growing as well. All right, next slide. We also sell other products, which I'll go to shortly after this, but we have a whole retail consumer product side of our business. So we work in the U.S. with pretty much every auto store in the U.S. So we work with AutoZone, all these big players that have hundreds of stores. I think AutoZone has like 700 stores. But we also work with Home Depot and Lowe's. But we are very well known on the retail side of the market as well. But we've taken that excitement around racing and transformed that excitement into the performance products that we sell into our retail channels. All right, next slide. We also have a branded retail part of our business where we license out our name, and we actually have VP Racing Fuel gas stations. We don't actually own the gas stations, but we've licensed those out. We've got close to, I think, 600 in the U.S., Puerto Rico, and Mexico now that people are using our VP Racing Fuels brand, because there is an excitement around the brand, but also those gas stations will sell race fuel. So at each one of those gas stations, there'll be an area where you can get race fuel and some of our performance additives as well. So the gas station owners are able to benefit from that brand and also sell some products that some of their competitors aren't able to sell. All right, next slide. So as I was mentioning from a race fuel standpoint, our objective is always how to get higher octane into the fuel, but also not just octane, but really how do we get more power to those engines. So as I was mentioning earlier, we do have fuels that we still use lead in. We have some very highly oxygenated fuels, but over those 80 different SKUs of fuels, here in the Asian market, we've got a handful of very high niche fuels that our distributors have done really, really well with because of the humidity and the high heat that you have it here in this market. Some of our fuels with the lower RVP allows those engines to burn the fuel better and quicker, and so we've done really, really well with racing fuels. Next slide. We also have additives as well. So we've taken that expertise that we've learned from the racing segment and put that into our fuel additives. We've always focused on making the highest quality products. We're definitely not one of the companies that just brings out a product just to have it on the shelf. If we bring it out the shelf, it's got to have some type of performance characteristic that makes it better than everybody else's. We've always focused on allowing the racers to win, and if you're going to be a racer, you need the best product going in your car. So we've taken that same belief and technology that we've learned in race fuel to put into our additives. So we have a complete line of additives from octane boosters, fuel system cleaners, as well as many other products. All right, next slide. Performance coolants. This is actually one of our top selling products that we have here. So from a coolant standpoint, we have a product right here. It's called Stay Frosty Race Ready. It's 100% water-based coolant, but it has 3 wetting agents that allows the product to get some heat out of that engine a little bit better. So here, this product has gone outside the racing segment. We brought it out originally for the racing market because it does not have glycol in it. And for racetracks, they typically don't want glycol on the track because it's very slippery and cause some issues. But it has transformed into just the regular passenger grade vehicles, and we're starting to do really, really well with, just because anywhere where there's heat, there's stop-and-go traffic, and you've got any issues related to temperature, this is just a product that has done very, very well and has become our top seller here in this market. Next product. We also have a full line of lubricants. So we've always focused on the racing side. So our racing oils have always been designed for, high temperature, high stress. The detergent and the additive packages we're putting into the racing oils are by far we consider the best in the industry. Racers who use it, what we typically find from them is they're telling us that they've got less contamination in the oil. They're not even changing it as often, and our higher viscosity grade oils have just really started to do really well. So we work with all the name brand racers at teams over in the U.S. We sponsor a lot of those guys, but it's nice seeing the guys that are winning races using our racing oils. But we've taken that expertise and transferred that into our power sport and our passenger grade oils as well. So most of our dealers internationally have focused on the passenger grade oils, but they've taken the brand that we've started with the racing and used that to help build the brand. Also to provide a different product that some of their competitors are not selling, so it gives them another category of a product to put on the shelf. But the passenger grade oils, we've done really, really well with them just because they work very well, especially our synthetic oils. Next slide. We have a line of Power Sport oils as well. I won't talk a whole lot about these, but we do have Power Sport oils. Next slide. Commercial industrial lubricants. So because we do so much blending in oil, we have gotten very strong in the commercial segment as well. So we sell from the U.S., we sell container loads of drums of oil, really big in the Latin American market, and over into the Middle East. We're selling quite a bit of American oil there as well. Next slide. Kind of a niche product that we've done really well with in the U.S. is a small engine fuel. So in the U.S., we have a lot of outdoor power equipment, lawnmowers, blowers. This is a product that is an ethanol-free fuel, but from a packaging standpoint, it's very easy to stock and put on your shelf. It doesn't go bad and sit on your shelf like a regular petrol will and degrade over time. You can basically put this on your shelf and it'll last for up to 5 years sitting on your shelf. So it's become a very popular product in the small engine world and outdoor power world. Next slide. We also have appearance products. Once again, since we're working with these racers, our objective is to provide that racer everything that he would need from a lubricant standpoint that would go into his vehicle. Any type of fluid in the vehicle, but then from an outside perspective, how do we get them some products that's going to give them extra shine? We've got some products that will help get tar off the vehicle, because that's a big issue in racing, but it won't strip the paint off the car or pull any of the vinyl off. Next slide. And because our brand's gotten so strong, we have started to license out our products for many years. So you might see our products, well, I don't know if Amazon's big here, but in the U.S., you'll see our products in several different places, just from a licensing standpoint. So we do provide licensing opportunities for merchandise and other products if anybody manufactures different products that could use a Race Strong brand to help sell their products. And the next slide. And then we do private label as well. So there's several companies that want a performance-grade product, that want an American-made product that we are happy to private label for as well. So if there's anybody out there that's looking to white label, please come to me and we can chat. And then I think the last slide. Yeah, that's pretty much it from that standpoint. So, just for a quick overview, our company, even though we've been focused on racing, if any of you out there have any interest in racing or fuel, I'll be at 136. I'm happy to answer some questions on the race fuel technology side. But what we're trying to do is expand outside of our race fuel world, which we've been doing for the last 20 years, to get more of the consumer products and lubricant side of the segment, and we've done really, really well on that. So we do provide a niche of products, something that you might not see here walking around, just the lubricant show here, but if you have any interest in that, we've got some great distributors here, and we're looking for other distributors in other parts of the Asia market. So anyway, is there any I don't know if that was pretty quick. I don't know if we have any, I can answer any questions if anybody has anything.
Yes, if there are any questions from the floor, we have Slido, or we can give you the mic. Any questions? I actually have a lot, but it's probably not my place to be asking you questions. James, you have a very interesting business model. So when your brand licensing for VP fuels, that's primarily in North America, not in Asia, right?
So no, actually we do licensing all over the world, to be honest with you. A lot of the products that you actually saw on the screen were there are coming out of this market, to be honest with you. So no, we do licensing all over the world from a product standpoint, and then from the petrol side, so the gas station side. We've not gotten as many gas stations everywhere else outside of the U.S. and Mexico and Puerto Rico that we'd like, but we're slowly getting there. The brand's getting there.
But the fuels that you provide in the gas station, are those racing fuels or?
So the fuel that we provide in the station at the pump, we actually have just regular, your standard petrol that the stations can pull from. But some of our stations will actually stock a high octane fuel at the pump as well. So they'll have a 101 RON octane pump that is our fuel. And then we also have our product comes packaged in 20-liter and 60-liter pills, and so we will actually stock those at the gas station. So racers can actually drive from across town and pick up their performance fuel at the gas station.
Okay, and this is not product specific. I guess my question is, what's the future of racing if with the move towards sustainability and moving away from ICE towards electric vehicles. Do you see the end?
So there's been so much talk about electric, and I don't know if any of you have been to a race where it's electric. From a consumer standpoint, it's not the most exciting thing. I think people still like the sound of a high-performance engine, and that's what really draws people. The race to electric has definitely slowed down. I don't know if y'all are experiencing it here in the U.S. We're experiencing that as well. There's still a lot of talk, but I think there's a lot of people are wanting to do something that's just not infrastructurally set up correctly to do that yet. So we're not too concerned about electric. Where we do see it going is to more sustainable. We're getting a lot more requests to get away from fossil fuels and go to second generation non-fossil type chemicals. So we are doing that. The challenge for that is anytime you go to that type of a chemical to make a race fuel, it's harder to get the same power out of the fuel, and also there's a huge cost associated with it. So to give you an example, we work with a race series by the name of IMSA, and IMSA does a lot of racing in Europe, and they came to the US and they switched everything over to an 80% fossil fuel. That fuel that they were buying the year before was going for about, I'd switch everything to liters, and so in US dollars, they were spending about $4 US per liter. After this year going to sustainable fuel, that price went up to $12 per liter. So 3 times more expensive to make sustainable fuels just because the volume's not there yet. What we're finding as well, it's typically not the racers that are pushing the sustainable, it's the bigger companies trying to push that down on them. So there is a market that it's going that way, so we're starting to get lead out of our fuels. We're starting to work on other fuels to find ways to get the, the octane up. One of the things we're working on outside of racing is we're working on an unleaded aviation fuel. So we've been working in the U.S. with the FAA for about 5 years for unleaded aviation fuel. Most of the propeller planes in the world still use a leaded aviation fuel. So there was about 10 companies that started 5 years ago. We're the last one standing that have been able to make this product, and so we're about to get that approved in the next 6 months, and we'll be one of the first companies to have an unleaded aviation fuel. But we're taking that technology that we've learned from the aviation side to put into the racing side. So we've learned a lot from it, which will help us on a sustainability standpoint.
When you say approved, you mean ASTM approved, or you mean state approved? Or?
So, well, for the FAA, they have to have a approval process for every plane that's in the U.S. primarily, but usually Europe follows that standard as well, and the rest of the world tends to kind of follow that standard. So, yeah, it's something we're excited about. It gets us outside of racing. So our company, understanding that the racing world is unfortunately getting smaller because it's very costly to race. Unlike every other sport where there's big purses, most racers do it as a hobby. They're not making tons of money. They live off of sponsorships. And so because it's a world of sponsorships and that sponsors are wanting green sustainability, we're starting to focus towards that.
Yeah, what an interesting subject. I was watching an interview, a documentary on F1 actually on the way from Manila to Singapore. So obviously F1 is coming to Singapore, I think, in a few weeks' time. So
It should be, yeah. I was here 3 years ago, 3 years ago, and I got to experience the floods of Singapore, and so it kind of ruined the race, but I have to come back.
Fascinating.
Yeah, but no,
Fascinating.
F1 is definitely, the popularity around F1, especially once they put the Netflix special out, has really grown. So anytime we can get excitement around racing, it's good for our industry. It's definitely an incredible and a fun sport, but it's definitely one that's challenging because of the costs going up today and everything else involved. So we want to do everything we can to support anything fossil related and anything racing related.
Great. Well, thank you so much. If there are no more questions, I'd like to thank James for his presentation.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.